What's up, Seattle? I want you all to raise your fists in the air in solidarity with the Iraqi people and the emergence of the GI movement in this country. Like I said, we here, we're Iraq Veterans Against the War. And one thing that is coming back is, like I said before, GI resistance, war resistors. If you get soldiers to refuse to fight, you will end this war. This movement needs to be led by Iraq Veterans Against the War with your support. The people in the military, we need to build this movement to make it stronger. We have to give them the confidence to refuse to fight. If they see a strong anti-war movement, students in their colleges, occupying their schools, all that sorts of things, it's going to give them the courage to refuse to fight. And I'm over here with all my brothers, and there's some sisters around here, saying that we want this occupation to end. Not only in Iraq, but in Afghanistan. We need to make that connection. And you know what? Let's just tell it how it is. This is a war. This is a racist war of aggression. This is a war of profit. Only the corporations are benefiting from this. We've got over 1 million Iraqi people, innocent, have been killed since we've been occupying that country. And we have over 4,000 U.S. dead. We're demanding Congress to end this occupation. Thank you.
Troops! Support the troops! Support the troops! Support the troops! Bring them home! 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 Woo! Ellen Murphy! Woo! All right, so now you know that it's a very scary idea that we could invade another country. And it's important that we raise up the voices of leadership that are saying no to that and that have a connection to that. And now we are here to introduce Dr. Guldarz Eqteda Ari. And he is a human rights activist, a peace worker, and organizer with the American Iranian Friendship Council. Instrumental in passing the No War Resolution by Portland, Oregon City Council. He's a woo! Woo! He's a radio producer with KBOO FM and an educator and engineer, and please welcome him.
Salam, Seattle. Peace, shalom. I am here to represent a community of Iranians in the Northwest, and I'm very proud to tell you that we are now starting the same movement that happened in Portland, in Seattle. And what I want you to do, we have a table back there with petition for City Council of Seattle to pass a resolution against the war and in condemnation of the Bush war in the Middle East. So please go sign it, and if you cannot sign or you can't find the petitioner, please call the City of Seattle, call the Mayor Nichols' office and ask him that the City of Seattle should join the other progressive cities in the nation and pass the resolution against the war and against the attack on Iran. And I have a bad news for you too. The bad news is that unfortunately this administration has committed himself to do the war, to attack Iran and to destroy that country as they did with Iraq. You got it. The barrel of crude oil is $100 now. It's going to be $200, but they don't care because they represent the oil companies that are benefiting from it. Why, during the war, an oil company who sells oil like Chevron and Exxon have $40 billion of profit, and why we, the people, have to pay for the war? Why don't they pay for the war, for their war? It's not our war, it's not our president, it's not our war, it's oil war. Salute.
No new war! 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 Woo! Yeah, it's very important, because while we need to stop this war, we need to bring the troops home now, but just this past week, as we know, not only has the Bush administration been threatening Iran, they've also been making threatening gestures towards Cuba, and the list goes on and on. So we have to make it very clear, it's not just the Iraq war in a vacuum, we're against all wars of imperialist aggression. And I would like now to introduce our next speakers, who are Caitlin Esworthy and Wally Cuttaford. Caitlin is a member of Port Militarization Resistance and a student at the Evergreen State College. I guess Evergreen is in the house. Okay. And Wally is an organizer with the Port Militarization Resistance of Olympia and also a U.S. Navy veteran. In March, while peacefully participating in the Port of Tacoma protest, they were singled out and assaulted by Tacoma riot police. Caitlin was thrown around and onto the ground, injuring her neck. Wally was held down on the ground as they tasered him in the back 3 times. Facing charges of assault and obstruction, they will be going to trial in January along with 9 other defendants. Please give them a warm welcome.
Thank you all for coming out today. It's awesome to see so many people out here committed to social justice.
How many of you want to see an end to the occupation of Iraq? How many of you feel devastated knowing the death and the havoc we've wreaked on the Iraqi people? How many are you sick and tired of hearing about Congress passing another appropriations bill? How many of you are fed up with seeing U.S. armed soldiers returning sick, damaged, injured for life, or in body bags?
We've all tried many things to end this war. We've tried electoral politics. We've tried referendums and non-binding resolutions. We've held vigils and rallies.
And when we heard that Stryker combat vehicles were going to be shipped out of our publicly owned ports, we saw both an opportunity and an obligation. From the very beginning, we have been complicit participants in this illegal and immoral war. And when our elected officials, from local port commissioners all the way up to senators, refuse to represent their constituents, it is up to us to act. Our communities, our schools, and our ports have all been invaded by forces that seek to militarize and foment a culture of fear.
We say enough! If we are to stop this war, we must stop the shipment of weaponry sent to kill Iraqis in the name of U.S. empire. And in the South Puget Sound and beyond, we have acted. When the military shipped munitions, combat vehicles, and strikers out of Fort Lewis, citizens around the Port of Olympia, the Port of Tacoma, and the Port of Grays Harbor said enough is enough, and port militarization resistance was born.
We have transformed these ports into contested ground, into sites of struggle against the war in Iraq. In Tacoma, during the 2-week-long shipment process, we engaged in a continuum of actions. We got organized. Several hundred people rallied, contacted media, and demanded that the Port Commission and City Council refuse participation in this illegal and immoral war. We blocked convoys from entering the port.
We demonstrated nonviolently and creatively in protests garnering international media attention. People around the world watched YouTube videos of our people being gassed by Tacoma police as they nonviolently chanted. People saw the tear gas and the rubber bullets and the heavy-handed intimidation. People saw police repression. A total of 77 arrests have been made at Port Actions, but the actions of the police only strengthened our resolve and the resolve of our supporters. Solidarity actions occurred in places throughout the U.S. Labor unionists and peace activists in Oakland organized against the use of their port in the war, and other port cities are in the process of getting organized.
The Fort Lewis Logistics Center is at a loss. Where are they going to ship out of? They had a plum deal with the Port of Olympia, but we kicked them out of there. They had a backup deal with the Port of Tacoma, but we kicked them out of there too. The cost of security at the Port of Tacoma was $500,000. $500,000 to protect their war shipments from we, the people. Finally, their last shipment was out of Fort Lewis when they shipped Kiowa and Apache helicopters from the 4th Squadron, 6th Air Cavalry Division, went through the port of Grays Harbor.
They are on the run. Cities are demanding compensation from the military for the extra security which are coming out of their already strapped budgets. Your very own Seattle Police Department sent free of charge trained riot squad bike police to Tacoma and even as far as Aberdeen in order to intimidate peaceful protesters.
We say that the funds intended for our community can be better used, spent on health care, education, the arts, and should not be used to protect lethal machinery. Their increased police violence and repression can only mean one thing. They are getting scared.
Together we are effectively challenging a powerful agenda. 80 soldiers from these brigades have died already, and countless more Iraqis were slaughtered because those shipments reached Iraq. But together we can stop the shipment of weaponry out of Fort Lewis and out of any port on the West Coast.
We've stopped them out of Olympia. We've stopped them out of Tacoma.
We can stop them out of Grays Harbor. We can stop them out of Everett.
We can stop them out of Bellingham. We can stop them out of the port of Seattle.
The next shipment may be in 10 days or in 10 months, but it will happen.
Together, we are throwing a wrench into the machines of war.
Our will is stronger than their pepper spray. Our resolve will outlast their batons, and our determination cannot be tasered.
We say no to the military-industrial complex. We say out of Iraq, out of our ports, 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 out of Iraq.
Okay, we have an important announcement. We have a lost person. We need to find David Hodges. Please come up here to the front of the stage. Your grandson needs you. So please, David Hodges, please report to the front. Marie's going to make an important announcement, and then we'll go on with our next speaker.
Okay, here on behalf of Rick Bender, who is the chair of that organization. Jeff is a longtime anti-war activist, a labor activist, and he currently lives in Olympia, and we need to give it up for him because we need more labor support here. All right?
Thank you very much. Yay, Olympia. Okay, all right, great. Thanks a lot. I'm so proud to be here representing labor to raise our labor voices with yours to say no to this war. Last month, up at the Peace Arch up at the border, the Washington State Labor Council, along with the British Columbia Federation of Labor, representing about 800,000 workers and their families, sent a strong message back to their respective governments. And that was 1, end the war now, 2, bring the troops home, 3, start comprehensive peace talks in the Middle East, and 4, let's start rebuilding the infrastructure of Iraq that this country over the last 20 years has done much to destroy. Now, for some of you who have been around for a while, you know that the issues of war and peace in the labor movement are not easy issues. We have a long history and culture of militancy and struggling for economic justice and peace. We're fighters. Every day we fight at the workplace for a voice. Every day we fight in the halls of power for a voice. And let me tell you, the struggle is not getting any easier. Today, in this country, every 23 minutes of the day, a worker is fired for union activities. Last month was called the September Massacre. What we saw at the National Labor Relations Board is that they decided on 12 decisions that, one, make it harder for people to join unions, and two, make it easier for employers to fire union members. Now, but when it comes to analyzing this war using a class analysis, there's no issue. This war is unjust. This war is wrong. The cost has been staggering. $450 billion and counting. If you believe the Congressional Budget Office, they say if it takes us 20 years to get ourselves out of there, which it won't, but if it does, be $1.5 trillion. But the cost to our dignity, to our freedom, to our souls has been much greater than that. Every day that we're over there, the world becomes a less safe place. Every day that we publicly fund private armies to run roughshod over there, the world is less safe. Every day that we publicly fund rapacious corporations to profit off of war misery, the world is less safe. This war is not in the interest of working folks. Just not. What I want to say to you today is really simple. We got to translate this power. The majority of Americans are against this war. The majority of the Americans, we've got to not only raise their voices in the streets, but we got to raise these voices in the halls of power. And our pledge to you as labor is to join voices together, and let's change the halls of power. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Jeff. Let's thank Jeff again. Well, let's give him a warm round of applause. All right, a couple of housekeeping things. The keys that were at Judkins are here now. So I know whose keys they are. I have them. Come on up. Think about corporate media consolidation. Yeah, do you think we're going to get a lot of coverage on our demonstration today? Maybe not. Okay. The Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, is getting ready to rewrite the rules setting limits on big media concentration. And they'd like to make it possible for consolidated corporations like Clear Channel and Fox to get even bigger. In fact, if the corporations get their way, a single company could own the newspaper, TV, and radio stations in one town. The FCC has put this decision on a fast track, but in Seattle, we've got a chance to weigh in because they're holding their final public hearing on media ownership right here in Seattle. They haven't announced the date yet, but it could happen as soon as next week. So here's what you can do. Check out reclaimthemedia.org for details on the issues and updates on the hearings. Plan to show up at the hearings with about 1,000 of your best friends, and let's tell the FCC big media is big enough already. Okay, this gentleman here, hold him up again. He's got flyers right here, up here in blue in the front. Okay, we still need to announce David Hodges. Please come down to the front. We really need you. Your family needs you. At the north end of the stage. Thanks. Also, just one more thing before we have our next speaker. The October 27 Coalition to End the War Now has decided to do something a little different, which was we wanted to have an opportunity for people to get more involved the day after the demonstration. So if you're going to be here in town tomorrow, there are two different opportunities to get involved. There's going to be a workshop called Climate Change and War at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the Asteroid Cafe, and then a forum called Stop the War at Home and Abroad at 2:30 p.m. at the University Baptist Church. And we'll have Ben Marks, who's an Iraq vet. We will have Emily Gagia, who is an immigrant rights activist. We will have Amin Odeh from Voices of Palestine, and Fatima Magsambal, who some of you may have heard speaking this morning at Judkins Park. So that'll be tomorrow, and you can get more information on the endthewarseattle.org website. Now, give me a minute here.
I am falling apart, but that's okay. That's because there's so much going on. As we were trying to plan this program, brothers and sisters, we decided that we wanted to hear from people who represented living struggles, living movements for peace and justice. And our next speaker is an authentic representative of a movement of the most oppressed, some of the most oppressed people in our society who are standing up for their dignity and human rights. And that is the movement for immigrant rights. Please welcome Araceli Hernandez, who is an active member of the Committee for General Amnesty and Social Justice. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hi, good evening. Hoy estoy aquí en representación del Comité por Amnistía y Justicia Social para demandar un alto a la guerra de Irak.
I am here today representing the Committee for General Amnesty and Social Justice to demand a stop to the war in Iraq.
Un alto a la guerra en contra de los inmigrantes y un alto inmediato a las redadas que tanto sufrimiento han causado a nivel mundial.
A stop to the war against immigrants and an immediate stop to the raids that have caused much suffering on a global level.
El 911 ha representado, entre otras cosas, la justificación a los ataques directos contra las comunidades inmigrantes.
9/11, amongst other things, has represented the justification for direct attacks against the immigrant community,
provocando una campaña para denigrar la imagen del inmigrante, llamándonos terroristas, ilegales e incluso invasores.
Provoking a campaign to denigrate the image of the immigrant, calling us terrorists, illegals, and even invaders.
En el último año ha habido 185,500 personas deportadas.
In the last year, there have been 185,500 people deported.
Víctimas de deshumanizadas redadas en que agentes de inmigración llegan a las humildes viviendas por la noche para detener familias enteras.
Countless victims of dehumanizing raids in which ICE agents arrive at their humble homes in the night to detain whole families.
Incluyendo niños de todas las edades que son forzados a vivir en centros de detenciones.
Including children of all ages who are forced to live in detention centers.
Sister and brother, we are here to stop the war. Hermanos, es tiempo de poner un alto a la injusta política de este país.
Brothers and sisters, it is time to put a stop to the unjust policies of this country.
Es tiempo de poner un alto a la guerra.
It is time to put a stop to the war.
Es un tiempo de un alto en contra de los ataques a los inmigrantes, porque los inmigrantes somos parte de este país, al que contribuimos con nuestro trabajo y nuestra cultura.
A stop to the attack against immigrants, because we immigrants are part of this country. We contribute to it, our work and culture.
¡Sí se puede! Es tiempo de poner un alto a las redadas que destruyen familias, destruyen vidas, destruyen el sueño del inmigrante por una vida mejor para nosotros y nuestras familias.
It is time to put a stop to the raids that destroy families, destroy homes, and destroy the immigrant's dream of a better life for ourselves and our families.
Es tiempo de poner un alto porque no human being is illegal. ¡Sí se puede!
¡Se puede!
¡Se puede!
¡Se puede!
Thank you.
Sí se puede! We can stop the war! Sí se puede!
We can stop the war.
Sí se puede!
We can stop the war.
All right. We have a couple of special treats to close out our program. We have two wonderful things coming up, and it just didn't work out that we put one in the middle. So we're going to have a short play from the Tacoma Puppetistas, and then we're going to have some awesome music. So we're going to have the Puppetistas and then Hungry Mob. So I'll introduce Hungry Mob after the Puppetistas are done. But Puppetistas, this might take a minute for them to get up here. They're going to do a play for us called The War on Trial, a short play.
We've seen this.
All rise! The court of the people of the United States and the world is now in session. Honorable, let history be the judge presiding.
Today, the Bush administration and the United States government are facing charges related to the war in Iraq. You, the people, will act as jurors in this case. Patience. You must determine the defendant's guilt on these charges, and if you find them guilty, take action to be sure that the sentence is carried out. Bailiff, swear in the jury.
Members of the jury, that's you.
They can't hear you. They can't hear you.
Technicalities, leave it to bureaucracy. Members of the jury, that's you, folks. Please raise your right hand. Raise it. That's it. Everybody raise it. Do you swear to fulfill your duties and uphold the United States Constitution and international law, signify by saying I do? I do. You got it.
Bailiff, bring in the defendants. We'll have order in the court.
Your Honor and distinguished members of the jury, I present to you the defendants in this case. President George W. Bush. Vice President Dick Cheney.
Now.
Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. And the U.S. Congress.
Defendants, you are charged today with the following crimes. Lying about weapons of mass destruction to the people in an effort to foment war with Iraq, perpetrating a war of aggression in violation of the UN Charter, engaging in torture and extraordinary rendition in violation of the Geneva Convention, flagrant violation of due process rights with the intention to destroy the U.S. Constitution, and fomenting a war of aggression against Iran. In addition, most Democratic and Republican members of Congress are charged with aiding and abetting in illegal war and occupation and war crimes. Defendants, how do you plead? Okay, not guilty. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, since the Iraq War began in March 2003, you have had ample time to review evidence of these defendants' guilt or innocence of the charge for which they stand accused. Now, dear jury, how do you find the defendants? Guilty or not guilty? I'm afraid I didn't quite hear you. Could you repeat that? Defendants, you are guilty as charged. The court of the people of the United States and the world hereby orders the Bush administration and Congress to bring the troops home, to close the prisons in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay, and to give Guantanamo back to the Cubans, by the way, to end the practice of torture and extraordinary rendition, and to end underlying policies of empire and intervention. Now, this court does not have the power to enforce this sentence by itself. It is up to you, the members of the jury and the citizens of the United States and the world, to enforce this sentence through peaceful action. Can you do this? Okay, and another question. Now this court is coming to a closing, but we have a question for all the jury. Do you believe that a better world is possible? A world of peace and social justice? Then go forth and make this world true.
Good job! Science! Come on, science! Science!
So while we're waiting for the chain gang, how do you like the new outfit, by the way? So there are a number of folks out there with the peace doves, and there's some of those signs that say UFPPC.org. If you could please bring them over, sort of lay them against the brick wall, that would be great. They're from the South Side. We'd love to get them back. Thanks, y'all.
All right, let's thank the Puppetistas one more time. They're really awesome, as are we all. Okay. All right, we're going to introduce our last act, but before we do that, there are some important announcements. Once again, it's out today, and that's Hungry Mob, and they're a socially conscious live hip-hop band that makes evolutionary music for the soul. Mike Crenshaw, who's a member of Hungry Mob, has participated in the opt-out campaigns in the Portland area high schools for the past 2 years and actively combines education, music, and grassroots organizing to promote social justice. Please welcome Hungry Mob!
One, two, 1, 2. Seattle, make some noise! It's an honor to be here. We came up from Portland thanks to the AFSC. PDX Peace now. Yes. Don't hesitate to dance if you like our music, you know what I'm saying? How many people here like hip-hop music? That's right. How many people here know that art is an active part of making movements happen? That's what's up. We need more drums in the monitor, sir. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check it out.
Tonight is the night for us all.
live in comfort, while a disproportionate number were forced to live in hunger. The calm before the storm would have died when I was younger, and it was really just the eye. Now every day is thunder, lightning and rain. Behold a pale horse, gale force hurricane. Get away from your slumber, so much destruction and pain. Man, you gotta wonder, will we ever come together or all torn asunder?
Tonight is the night for us all to unite. Tonight is the night for us all to unite.
Tonight's the night, what?
Tonight is the night for us all to unite. Tonight is the night for us all to unite.
I'm thinking about my daughter, my sister, and my brother. Gotta make it in the world and take care of one another. If it ain't safe for little girls, then it ain't safe for my mother. Now, demons got us taught us to slaughter each other. See, some call me naive. Well, I believe I'm stubborn. I'm asking, why we fighting water when the whole planet is covered? None of us is free when one of us suffers. Not one of us is free when one of us suffers.
Tonight is the night for us all to unite. Tonight is the night for us all to unite. Tonight is the night for us all to unite. Tonight is the night for us all to unite.
If you enjoy the music, make some noise. Thank you. We keep it moving like, yeah. Put your hands up. Yeah. This song is called Bubbling. Since time immemorial, we've been warriors, voyagers coming in peace to free our people from destroying themselves in this man-made hell. Condition afflicted, self-inflicted evil, addicted, consider the shit I spit. Ground zero, I insinuate the eternal flashpoint. My infernal incinerates hatred and negativity. Invigorates that within me which is creative and sacred, yeah. Mom got that high voltage, under propulsion to catapult your anatomical in emotion. Make cuts to vibrate your guts. Primates gyrate their butts and persevere just to prescribe loosely and loosely fitting a tie. Aspire freedom fighters to deconstruct what sucks in the field by wording a gleaming chunk for the unadulterated realness is a reference point so we can simultaneously feel flows. Exposed to fraudulent in this illicit circumstances, we drop joints. Turbulent, tumultuous, and those of us who feel this scope the voluptuous form of song and dance. To answer the question, for what are we destined chance? Challenge change, takes a fate, martial art advance. It's a crucial part of evolution. Each thought, a revolution, steadily moving, grooving for survival. And the instinct is primal. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling, yeah. We bubbling on. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling. we bubbling. Astoundingly enough, people want to stay bound by ignorance. Once some shackles touch, I'm breaking, snapping, and bending them, stretching the boundaries. Once invisible when I don't give a fuck. How difficult I get mathematical, radical, mind over matter, push my physical to the limit, align myself with the lowest common denominator for the sake of communication. Unanimously nominated to be the one, still unassuming and anonymous. Prodigal child, son, enslaved, trick, traded, stray, nautical miles. So now I smile, cause the time has come for me to utilize the sum total of my knowledge and become that which I am. Roll your whip beyond that, but a dance flow through the battlefield and back. 360 black, anything I touch I have flavor just like hickory smoke. My shit is inextricably connected to victory dose. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling, yeah. We bubbling. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling. Come on. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling. Yeah. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling. We bubbling. We underground like Harriet Tubman. We breaking barriers, struggling.
We are controlling transmission.
Thank you very much, y'all. It's a beautiful day. Good to see a bunch of people coming together for the right reasons, right?
Slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till free, all through the revolution. Free the babies, don't have enough to eat, shoe the children, yeah, with no shoes on the feet. How's the people living in the streets? Oh, there's a solution. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free, fly through the revolution. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future.
I'm looking up, I see sun in my face, no gun in my waistband. Running a race, I'm sprinting through the wasteland. I'm strong enough to keep the pace. I'm only stopping long enough to read a page from my book of life. Yeah, I'm looking to the right, check the left for a second, and I'm stepping through the night. Cats recognize that I'm working with the light. Might ask the question why, out of courage in the fly.
Fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle, feel free, fly Seattle.
Yo. Hey, it's Portland in the house. It's Seattle in the house. Yo, you guys having a good time, right? No doubt, no doubt. What you gonna do?
Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. And don't give up the fight.
Stand up.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up.
Stand up.
And don't give up the fight. And never give up the fight.
Rashida, let her know.